What is good, everybody? This is Ian Walker, host of the Rising Legends podcast, and I am here today with the first official session of the solo role-playing campaign that I'm starting. The Adventures of Olynn Dagwood, which is I'm using D&D 5th edition, and it is a crime, drama, comedy type of show that I'm doing. So I have using the sort of solo role-playing system that I'm doing. Guys, it's just, it's off the cuff, it's off the cuff. I'm hoping it's something that's entertaining to you guys, and I hope that you will enjoy it as I'm going through the show. So I went through before I got started. There were a lot of different systems that I saw. I'm like, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to be mostly utilizing a system that I created for myself. That'll make it a little bit easier. But I will be using some other resources as well. One of those resources, I'll go ahead and share the screen. If you guys are not familiar with it already, it is a system called Donjon. So Donjon is a great resource, and it is very straightforward in that. Let me increase this window size. I like the size of that. Make that a little bit bigger. On my last video, the window was really tiny. So anyways, as I was saying, Donjon is a great system it has automatic generators for a lot of things that I'm going to be utilizing in the game. That takes away the need for me to use a lot of books and just reduce my clutter. So this game is going to be played mostly with theater of the mind. So as I do this, I'm going to be writing notes real time. I'm going to be doing all of that stuff. So before I start, I'll go ahead and write episode 1. I'm going to leave the episode name blank because I'm going to have the episode I'm going to have the episode done after I get started, and where we see where this is going. So if you're watching this YouTube video later on, you will see, the title of the episode will be there. If this goes on for more than one episode or more than 1 to 2 videos, you'll see that as part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever. I'm going to try my best to make these episodes very straightforward. I'm going to try to make a YouTube video no longer than 30 minutes max. I want to try to keep these episodes really short. So if the session lasts for a long period of time, I'm going to be cutting up the episodes. But if the episode goes only for 30 minutes, it goes for 30 minutes. I want to try to do kind of like a serialized show, just like those old school crime shows and crime adventure shows and stuff like that. That's what Dagwood is, set in the D&D rules on the world of Ixalan. So as I mentioned in the last video, the setting that Dagwood takes place on is my own homebrew world called Ixalan, which is a very lush planet. This is a fantasy sci-fi type of show or type of setting. I'm sorry. And Olynn Dagwood is a nano mage, and he manipulates the nanites, which are the natural living organisms in the world that create and see, or the organisms of every living thing in this system. Okay, so the planet that it takes place on, I said, is Ixalan. It's a very lush, green, beautiful planet. But it is extremely hostile, and it is hostile due to the fact that the creatures that inhabit this world are so ferocious to the point where if the humans that landed on the planet did not have the technology made available to them that they have currently, the planet would not be able to be inhabited by humans. It would be next to impossible for them to live on that world. So so that's the case there. On Itzalan, the men and women of fame are called the hunters. They actually go out and hunt these creatures. And the hunters are not only hunters of creatures, but they also are scouts. They, this is taking place at least 100 years after they landed on the planet. They've arrived on planet Itzalan. They're still setting up a lot of things. A lot of the hierarchy has been established and is starting to spread out throughout the world. They're still discovering brand new things. They're discovering the world that they live on. They're discovering new creatures all the time. So this is going to allow me as a DM and just as a creator in general to kind of come up things off the fly. I'm creating creatures, characters, people, all of that stuff. So I'm going to be taking notes as I continue on with the game here. And from this episode on forward, it's going to be straight to the point. We're just going to get straight into the next episode. I may do like a little 5-minute commentary of what happened in the last episode, a 5-minute recap, but I will generally get right into it. Why? You guys don't got a lot of time to be watching me talking and re-explaining stuff. You guys can watch the last video if it was entertaining. So I'll do a little recap and then get right into playing because I know that's what you guys really want to see. So episode 1 starts with a loud ringing or loud siren that is sounding throughout the local city here. I'm going to use Don John here as a tool to create the fantasy, create the name of the town here. And I'm going to hit new. So what do I want to do? It's most definitely a walled city. We know that. So we're going to choose some of these options here. Is it a coastal town? Let's go ahead and utilize D&D Beyond here. We're going to do D100, 50% and under, and it's not a walled city. 50% or higher, it is a wall. I mean, not wall, it is a river city. 50% or under is a walled city. Is not a, I keep saying walled city. It is a walled city. It's going to have a wall, okay? 50% or under, it will be next to water. 50% or over, it will not. So let's go ahead and get this first roll in. Right, so that's a 12. So yes, this town is definitely next to water. So I'm going to go over to John and make coastal. It has defined culture here. We're not worried about that. So we're going to click new. Okay. This is definitely a forest land. So we're going to go ahead and I don't like that name, Gundabiz. Remidar? What is that? Remidar. So you get a dumb looking name like this. This is when you need to start thinking. So, and then what you do when you're doing these, just write really quick notes to jot down. You can compile them later and put them in. So, Remidar. So I'm going to call it Rimdalier. 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 It is a small town. Okay. And this, Don John kind of gives you all of that already. Okay. So a siren is going off right now. And technically we don't know what that is. Small coastal town. Okay. I'll go ahead and define that later. I'm just going to get into the main details. So in Rimdalier, a siren is going off. And usually the siren goes off alerting the hunters to something that is going down. Whenever a siren goes off, there's either a creature approaching the city or the city is under some kind of danger. But inside of a room, in a dark room, A man lays in his bed, unmoving, unflinching. The sounds of the outside don't affect him at all. He lays in his bed stiff, and then finally you start seeing him breathing heavily. His chest heaving up and down, and it's becoming more measured, getting more aggressive, becoming more and more intense. This man is dreaming. Finally, as it becomes more and more the breathing, you start hearing him, no. Ah! He stirs awake immediately. He looks around. The man is bald, has a goatee, sweat is dripping down his face. He's doesn't have any clothing on except for, his blankets are over him, and underneath are just his pants that he's wearing. And he's dripping in sweat. He's all, not that kid. Not again. Okay. Suddenly the man looks around, and all of a sudden the sound of the siren starts kind of hitting him now. Now he realizes that the siren is going off. Immediately he jumps up, gets out of his bed. He looks for his clothes, which is a long purple robe that he wears on a regular basis. He grabs it, puts it on, and he rushes outside the door. When he goes outside the door, we notice that he's actually inside of a tavern. Let's go ahead and utilize Don John once again to find out. Go to random end generator here. Call this, you keep clicking it. We're gonna call it the Emerald Cauldron. I like that. So he's outside of a tavern called the Emerald Cauldron. And he looks inside, and it's a very big tavern. He's actually up on the very top level, and actually there are 3 levels to this tavern. Make sure I write this down. Sleep in Emerald. Inside of the tavern, there's people stirring about. You see men and women inside with various types of armor on. They're running around frantic. Some are darting right outside. You hear a guy down below, oh man, it's time to get another one. Like, come on guys, let's go. Sometimes you see, solo individuals leaving. Sometimes you'll see pairs. Sometimes you'll see full groups, all taking off, going towards the shenanigans that are ensuing. Gentleman looks down around, and he fixes the rest of his robe, and he starts going down the stairs. And he's like, he looks over, and finally the tavern keep looks over, and he's like, hey Olynn. Like, hey, morning. Like, you're sweating like a pig. Everything okay? So, yeah, I'm fine. What's going on? Well, the siren's going off, so that it can only mean one thing. It's obvious that that means there must be something going on. Must be creatures either breached the wall or something else altogether. But my advice, you're not the hunting type, so you better stay put. Yeah, good idea. So Dagwood Olynn kind of sits there and is like, Dagwood, you want anything to eat? Like, might as well grab something. In fact, hey, it's on the house. Nobody else is in here. I was like, yeah, thanks. What do you have? So if we look at this, the menu here, we have options, peeps. A braised phoenix and dried cherry and a glass of brandy. braised carp and apricot pie, glass of gin, roasted phoenix mulberry tart, roasted oxen and poached eggs with a glass of brandy, roasted oxen with cardamom, cheese curds and a glass of whiskey, boiled mutton, dried onions, and a tankard of stout, braised ham, rye bread, and a glass of cider. Delicious. All right, let me pull up another thing I want to do. Go ahead and click over on your apps. You have something called Google Docs. Google Docs is amazing. You see here, I have a lot of my other documents here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up a brand new document here. For things that I can't write down, I will do this here. So the Emerald Cauldron information is on here. I kept that on here like this, okay? Because I want to keep these locations and I want to make sure that I have easy access to them whenever I need them. Actually, so out of all of these, there are 7 options to eat. So clear this, go back to D&D Beyond and roll a D8. Whatever the result that is, which is an 8. So 7 is the braised hare and rye bread, glass of cider. So if there's less than that, I'm just going to go back up and make that back to the. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just use this: the braised hare and rye bread and a glass of cider. So Dagwood orders the meal here: braised hare and rye bread. And after a while, he gets the bread, he gets the meal, and he's eating it a little slowly, measured. And the barkeep looks at him, who was actually a dwarf, and he's looking at him, and he's like, that must have been some dream, huh? And Dagwood is still looking into his plate, just kind of staring off and contemplating. Say, Dagwood, sorry about that. What was that? It must have been some dream you had there. So you're staring off in your plate, you barely touched anything. Is everything all right? Yeah, I'll be fine. Business has just been slow. Look, business. Speaking of that, how is your little business going? What do you mean little business? You're a well-respected investigator and do of the people. So you'll see. You'll see. We shall see. I would then finally scarfs down the rest of his food, places 4 silver pieces down on the table. I'm gonna go ahead and run up, take a shower, and get ready to go. Can you do me a favor and see if there's any possible work? Sure. See if I can drum up something for you. That's all right. Appreciate it. So Dagwood goes upstairs. So finally, after a while, Dagwood goes upstairs, takes a shower. He finally gets freshened up, dressed up. His beard is nice and groomed. Dagwood is a very rugged looking, like I said, bald black gentleman. Very long, nice, average looking. Well, very nice, but they're not too expensive looking. But you can tell that there's been some money spent on a good pair of clothes. He dresses to have some decent clothes that's going to last for a while. He goes over and he gets his clothes. He walks over. He grabs a small quarterstaff that he uses, which is actually like a cane, and on top of the cane has a dragon's head on the top of it, which he kind of holds in between. The mouth is open, and so He places his index finger on there. He uses that to walk. He doesn't have a walking problem. Nothing's wrong with him physically, but you know, he thinks he looks cool when he walks with it. So that's what Dagwood does. He goes back down, and there's been a few. There's now, as he goes back downstairs, there's more people. We'll go down, and it's about 45 minutes later. There's more patrons inside of the Emerald Cauldron now at this point, and business is starting to come back up. The commotion has died down, as now all of the hunters are out taking care of whatever problem ensued or problem was going on. Dagwood goes down the stairs, comes down the stairs. He's all, "Hey, did we find out what the deal was with what the deal was with the commotion earlier?" So I'm going to roll again, 50% or under. I'm thinking, so in my head, I'm trying to figure out what kind of monster I want it to be. I can make the decision myself. I can say it off the top of the head, whatever. Stick with the D4, actually. So we're going to go with a water type creature, ground type creature, forest type creature, or a so water. Hold on, I'm going to write this down. So water, ground, forest, or aerial creature. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to roll that 1d4, and we come up with a 1. So this is a water creature. So this creature is one that was actually off on the coast. The creature had come up on the land and started taking out nearby boats, and things started destroying coastal property, boats, and things like that. Now, was this a, the question is, was this a single creature, or was it a group of creatures? 50% and under is a solo creature. 50% or higher is a group creature. So we're going to do the D100 there and roll that. 94%. So it was a group of water creatures. So water type creatures that attacked the town. Okay. All right. So those are water type. So we know it's a group of water creatures. Okay. Want to know now, as I'm thinking and as I'm going through this, were there any? So we know property, obviously. Well, I'm saying obviously. We don't know that, do we? So we're going to roll that also. Going to do a D100. So 50 and below, yes. 50 and above, no. If there was any property destroyed. And that result is an 89. So yes, most definitely. Property was destroyed. So that means there were boats. There were boats. There was probably some products, certain materials. Were there any casualties? It's another question that I want to ask. Okay, 50% or under, yes. 51% or higher, no. Ooh. Yes, there were casualties. Okay. And how how many were there. I don't want there to be more than 20 casualties, so I'll roll a d20. See how many people died. Oof, 11 people died. Or there were 11 casualties. We don't know. They're missing. Okay. So you'll see what's happening here. All right. So Dagwood comes downstairs. He tells him, yeah, he goes, yeah, we got some information. It seemed like there was a group of water creatures that attacked us down the coast, started destroying all kinds of property, boats, yeah, materials, land, a lot of the trade goods that were brought in, all destroyed and gone. And unfortunately, too, it seems like there are some people that got caught up, about 11 people. Interesting. Maybe I could go down there and maybe I can probably help some people out. But I think that would be a good place to start. I'm sure they would appreciate the help. Like, did you know anyone down there in particular? So, no, not off top right away. No, I don't go down to the coast very often, honestly. So I couldn't tell you. All right, well, at least I'll go make my way down there. All right, then. Hey, I appreciate it again. Dagwood leaves the Emerald Cauldron and walks on his way down toward the coast there. As you're walking outside, the town is pretty, not quiet, but it's kind of bustling a little bit. There are people outside. There's people mostly going down towards the coast. And the people in the town are, well, let's see how the people are in the town. Are the people in town friendly people? Let me write this note down. Yes. 1 to 50. No. 1 to 100. So are the people friendly? Okay. So no, these people are not friendly. So the people that are in town are kind of just minding their own business, doing whatever they want. This happens so much that, you know, they're kind of used to it. The people in the town, the owners of those, kind of took that risk when they, you know, when they moved here to this town. So the only people that are kind of helping it and helping out are, you know, the owners themselves of their boats and their property. So nobody's really helping each other out, which kind of deep down actually annoys Dagwood a lot. Something about this town that he never really liked too much, but you know, he's been fortunate enough to have enough about him where he's been able to get along with most people. But in general, this town's a little bit, you know, Rimdaleer is a little snooty, a little too good for themselves, if you will. But Dagwood makes his way down towards the pier area. So Dagwood now approaches the pier and seeing all the people, you know, kind of, you know, trying to get all their stuff together. You see a bunch of big guys, men and women, you know, walking around pulling their weight, but mostly guys are along the pier pulling up different boxes and, you know, moving around different crates and all of those things. Ships, as you can see, are just destroyed. And you see smoke coming out from some of them, and the air is putrid, unfortunately, which means a lot of the fish that was caught has just spewed everywhere. Now the whole pier smells like fish and all of that. Okay. So I'm going to come up with a name here that I like. I'm not going to say what it is yet until I come across with that. So I like. All right. So as he's approaching the pier, everybody's doing their business. You actually see guards that are walking around, kind of watching everybody, making sure everything's going well. And they're walking, you know, by. You see 2 sets of guards walking up and down the pier during this time, making sure there's no thieves or anything like that, trying to take advantage of the situation, if you will. Finally, he approaches. Dagwood's eye catches this particular ship, and he notices a person there. Now, the type of person that is there. Let's see if he does notice a person there. If he notices someone. Well, is there someone there that's of, special stature? So a decision, again, I always roll with the D100. 1 to 50 is yes, 51 to 100 is no. Okay, so it looks like 79% there. Okay, so no, there is no one there of any that looks different or special or anything. So everybody looks the same. So this is mostly would be a town of humanoids, generally from what he could see so far. Is there anyone that stands out though from 55%? No. So these people look very normal. So there is no one there that looks normal. It's just regular workers, regular dock workers and things there. So he's walking through and he's just staring. And finally, as Dagwood is staring off, I'm going to roll a perception check for Dagwood really quick. 13. His passive perception is a 13 also. So unfortunately, he does not make this check. So Dagwood is simply just staring off, just looking at all the destruction around him. And finally hears, "Hey, you're just going to help us out? You're just going to sit there and stand there the whole time?" And Dagwood kind of gets locked out of his where he was, "Oh, where'd that come from? Who's there? He's up here." He's looking up like, "We can use a hand." And there's a big, gigantic Goliath-looking guy. Well, he looks like a Goliath from afar if you see him at first glance, but actually he's just a seafaring, like big, burly seafaring sailor who's got this animal sash around him. These big, gigantic, furry boots. He's got these leather bracers, along with this vest that has this leather vest that's studded across it with this type of pin that's on his chest. And then he looks up and be like, "You're gonna stare? You're gonna help us out here? We could use extra hands, and I'll pay you if I have to." Dagwood is a natural helper, so he's gonna go ahead and help. Goes, "Sure thing." So he comes up, makes his way up to the boat, and there's kind of a gap there. Because of the damage of the boat, the gap is pretty wide from the pier to jump onto the boat there. So that means Dagwood's going to have to try and jump to get over. The gentleman, who's the assumed captain or one of the members of the crew, is on the other side. He goes, "Come on, hop on over. You're not going to need the help, are you?" So, no, I think I got it. So with that, let's see. We're going to have Dagwood roll an acrobatics check to make that jump. So we're just going to make this about a 6-foot gap. We're going to make it about a 6 foot. Let me let the dice decide. How many feet is this gap? So we're going to do D6. D12. Or D8. D8. I'm going to roll a D8 for the gap. Okay, so let's roll that. It's an 8-foot gap. Okay. So it's an 8-foot gap from the ramp to the pier. to the actual boat itself. So, so what we're gonna do is gonna have just go ahead and roll an acrobatics check to see if Dagwood busts his head open or if he flies through like a gazelle. Make that roll there, and he rolls a 10. So Dagwood runs up. He goes back. He's all, yeah, I got this. And you see the pirate just, the crewman just standing there looking at Dagwood as he kind of walks down, kind of runs up and gets a running start. He jumps up and completely, as he puts his foot, as soon as he takes his foot and almost lands on it, he slips right off. And I'm going to roll a check. I'm going to roll a percentage check. So the crewman sees Dagwood about to slip. So I'm going to roll a percentage for 2 reasons, to see if he does anything. So 41%, which is under. So 1 to 50 is yes. So this is 41%. So he does. So he comes over and the crewman sees him missing. He's about to miss. And so he's going to roll an athletic check of his own. And he's going to actually roll a dexterity. Just raw dexterity there. With 4. So he goes over and tries to help him. He's like, whoa. And he sees Dagwood slip and fall, and Dagwood goes straight into the water. He's all, hey, sorry about that. Like, why don't you just come on up the other way? I'll have one of my crewmen come down and grab you. Can Dagwood swim? $75. Dagwood cannot swim. Dagwood is now sort of, hey, stop floundering about. You keep moving around, you're not going to be able to keep yourself afloat. Just chill out. Dagwood starts panicking. He's like, hey, hurry up, get down there. Grab him before he drowns himself. He goes down. One of the other crewmen goes down, hops down, straight down off the right into the ocean, right in front of Dagwood. He immediately swoops Dagwood up, puts him on the shoulder, and swimming back up. And after a few minutes, he gets him on the boat finally. He's like, good night. What is this? He sits down, Dagwood sits down. He's well, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Yeah, ended up helping you. I'm the one who asked you for help. Don't want to talk about it. So what can I help you out with? Hold on there, buddy. Hold on. Let's get you calmed down. Let's get you another. Have you go into my study over there and maybe dry off for a little bit. I have to change some clothes in there that you can use. So thanks, I appreciate that. So Dagwood gets up, he stumbles into the captain's quarters, finds a towel, dries himself off and everything, and kind of looks around. And inside in the captain's quarters is a very, very simple, very rustic environment. Everything is made of wood. It seems like this captain is all about the minimalism. He's all about having the least of everything, but just enough to get the job done. There's no books around. Well, are there books? Are there any books or anything of fancy, of interest in there? In the cabin, possibly. Okay, so 24%, which is under, says yes, there is. Okay. So there are interesting things in here. So we're going to say that there are books. There are a few books in here. Is there a book on the creatures yet? Or is there a log of some kind? I want to see. Let me make sure. I got to stay up with the notes. Stay up with the notes, people. So Dagwood goes to help. See the captain. Slips and falls in the ocean. But saved by crewmen. Okay. All right. So we're going to roll to see if there is books. So 72%. That's a no. So there are no books on creatures here, but it is something of interest to the captain that he's interested in. Now, this will be funny. So it is something of interest that's in there. We know that he's of the bare minimum. We know that he's very he just needs what he needs. But it'd be interesting to know what kind of book it just might be. All right. So I'm going to do a 1d4 so I can keep it as simple as possible. When you're running a solo campaign, make your options as low as possible so that your rolls, you can roll and just keep going and go based off of that. So romance novel, action adventure, horror, or sci-fi. Okay. Roll 1d4. 1, a romance novel. So Captain finds a Dagwood finds a romance novel. And Dagwood is naturally inquisitive. So as a finite trait, Dagwood definitely sees it, picks it up, and there's a guy on there who looks like he's a space guy, and he's holding this beautiful alien woman and a guy with a gun, little laser pistol. He's like looking down at her. That's on the cover of the book, and the cover, it's called Forbidden Stars. That's what I'm gonna call it, Forbidden Stars. is the romance novel that he finds on the captain's desk. So Dagwood picks it up really quick and he's reading it, and he kind of like, oh, and all of a sudden, hey, y'all done an interview? Dagwood puts it away and shuts it down right on the desk where he left. He goes, hey, yeah, I'm almost finished. I'm almost done. He goes, yeah, you start using your help out here. Hurry up. And I hope you're not looking around at my crap. No, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm almost done. So he runs over to the dresser or to the closet area, and he sees the clothing there, which is just simple pants and just a regular cloth shirt that he goes ahead and puts on. He takes his clothes and wrings out all the water and hangs it up where the other clothes once were. He finally goes outside of the quarters now, and there's more crewmen on the deck of the boat. You see some of the crewmen are now starting to hammer parts of the boat, and they're starting to repair parts of the boat. Some people are bringing up crates and supplies and things like that. People are just going around doing some repairs to everything, trying to get everything back to normal. And finally, the captain ushers Dagwood over and says, hey, come over here. So So he walks over to him, he's like, hey, again, I appreciate it. The name is, he puts out his hand, the name is Olynn Dagwood. He goes, Olynn Dagwood. I've heard that name before. You just opened up a business around here where you do favors for people and things of that nature, yeah? Because yes, I am. So, oh, that's serendipitous. I was just asking for somebody to give me an extra couple of hands, but since you are who you are, you might be able to help me out with something. I think that might be up your alley. It's always up my alley if I'm able to help some people. Now Dad would start to get a little excited. So good. Now, I have a few options here. Now I'm going to pause the game. I have a few options here. What I want to do, what I could do. I could either go into Donjon and create a random adventure, but because they're more let's see here. I could do random adventure generator, which is this here. Or I could do a table. You could use a table or a plot hook, or you can ask a variety of questions. And unfortunately, since I'm not finding anything, I'm going to go ahead and do that, which will then help me to generate the mission. So let's go ahead and use a couple of yes and no questions here. So we know that this is, well, we don't know. So we know that it could be sea related. So let's ask that question first. Is this something related to the profession that this gentleman is asking for? Yes or no? So this is 45%, which is 1 to 50 is yes, and 51 to 100 is no. This is 45%. So yes, it is. It is related to his profession. Related to profession. And that was yes. All right. Does it have to do, since it has to do with their profession, next logical question, does it involve treasure of some kind? 15% under is yes. So yes, it does involve treasure. Does this adventure, could this mission involve someone being hurt or a kidnapping of some kind? That 8% under, most definitely. Yes, without a doubt, 100%. We're going to say someone hurt. And this, since this was an 08, which is less than 10%, most definitely, and we're going to just give it murder. I'm just gonna give it to it. My imagination is just a murder was involved. Okay. So do we know who the murderer is? I'm gonna roll that. 51%, the answer is no. Don't know who the murderer is. Okay. So obviously, since we don't know who the murderer is, we're going to have to find. So obviously going to want to have to find them. And so was the murderer someone close to the person? 100% unequivocally, yes. So, and we're just going to say, you know what? We're going to do a D6. So it was a 1%, most definitely. Family member. Family member murdered over treasure. So we're going to roll a D6. 1, father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, aunt, uncle, grandparent, grandma, grandpa. Let's just go grandparent. We'll make that a 1d8. See what it says. 6. Sister, cousin. Okay. So this is a murdered uncle. Okay. Murdered uncle. All right. Were there possibly other pirates involved in this, or other sailors or pirates involved? All right. Could the murderer be someone he knows? Okay. All right. So I've got is there an award going to be given for this? No. Reward? No. Okay. The reason why I asked that question for Dagwood is because, you know, on regular crime shows, there's no rewards given. We know that in Dungeons and Dragons, sometimes, there's always an award given for this and this and that. But Dagwood doesn't really operate the same way Hunters would or anything like that. So this is a relevant question for his character in this particular campaign. So what I've just done now is I've gone ahead and I've asked a series of questions, and this will create the mission that this particular NPC, who's now found out who Dagwood is going to give to him. So going through it, is it related to the profession that he does? No. Or I'm sorry, Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Is there treasure involved? Yes, it is. Is someone hurt? Yes, it is. I rolled an 08. Most definitely. So it's a murder that happened. Okay. Do we know who the murderer is? Do not know who the murderer is. The family member was murdered was an uncle. That was an 01 percentage roll. So it was definitely a family member. Were there other pirates or sailors involved? We know that there are no other pirates or sailors involved. So then that means that there's something much bigger involved. There's something else entirely. And this person does not know who the person is. They don't know who the murderer is. They don't know who the person is or have any suspicions as to who they are. And there is no reward for this. Okay. So what this now is going to allow me to do is I can now, with these answered questions, I can put together, using my imagination, a scenario for a scenario to come up with a mission. Okay. So let's do that. Give me 1 second. Pardon me. Okay. All right. So plot hook. So this is the reason why Dagwood is going to take this mission. Uncle was murdered after he discovered a treasure trove. In an undisclosed location. Okay, we do not know. To locate the killer or locate the party responsible and report back. Okay, simple. Okay, covers all the questions here. Okay. All right, so he says, so going back into the game now that that's all done. And I wrote down the notes in here. So what do you say? Would you be able to help me out, Dagwood? Most definitely. What's happened? Well, first off, my name is Ganto Porter, as I'm actually the captain of this ship here called the Love Lady. And a few weeks ago, I got some news saying that my uncle was murdered. Apparently, he had found a treasure trove in an undisclosed location that I don't know. Seems like once he discovered it, he got caught up with some bad people. I have no idea who's responsible for his murder, and I have no idea how to go about finding him. But if there's one thing that I know, nobody's going to mess with my family or murder my family and get away with it. What I need you to do for me, Dagwood, is to find out who and where this killer is. Once you find out about it, don't do anything. Just report back to me, give me the information, and I'll go from there. So Dagwood hears about it. So, were there any clues at all? Maybe perhaps left by your uncle was in the message. Was there any other information given to you at all? So we're going to roll a D100 for that. Okay, so yes or no, that's what Dagwood's asking. 67%. So 67, 51 above is no. So he goes, nope, the only thing that's left is this. And he grabs and he gives him this silver disc, or this metallic disc. Dagwood takes it, he looks at it, he's actually familiar with it. It has a hexagonal shape in the middle, kind of like a D20 dice, but carved inside. And he clicks the middle, and the middle kind of opens up, and a light comes out. And you see the face of a man there with mutton chop mustache. And the message plays. Hey, Gant. Like, look here. I think I might have found something that is really going to help us out of our troubles in our situation. But listen, it's important that you don't tell anybody. You're the only one I trust with this information. In fact, I think this might have been something that I wasn't supposed to stumble upon. I'll meet you in town in the next couple of days. We'll discuss everything further. Love you, kid. Take care. So, unfortunately, this doesn't give me much to work with, because I know this is all I've got. Like, this is your uncle. So yeah. So you have no other information about the supposed treasure trove? Nothing. Not at all. Because yeah, I know I didn't give you much to work with, Dagwood, but I really hope it can help you out here. Well, never been one to turn down the challenge. I'll see what I can do. Now, what I want to do is, in my head. Now this is just me outside of game, because when you're playing, we have both, you know, your in game and then your character in game. To prevent metagaming, this is why I came up with the D100 decision making system, because it prevents it. So if I come up with an idea, it's possible that I can use it. But if the dice say no, I don't get to use it. So I want to use this system to decide if there is someone there eavesdropping on the conversation potentially. All right. Ooh, 2%. Most definitely someone is eavesdropping on the conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Dagwood roll a perception check. We have Dagwood roll a perception check here. Okay. To see, because we know someone was eavesdropping. That's a definite, you know. See if Dagwood notices. And that's a 12. He does not notice it. He doesn't even get past his passive perception. So Dagwood doesn't notice. He's totally paying attention to the message on the disc. He doesn't notice anything. So he failed that roll. So that's it. He's also, well, I'm gonna need to examine this disc a little bit closer, see what I can, if there's anything that I can find, perhaps maybe expand the play radius on this or something to that effect. But it's gonna take a while. But I'll do what I can. Because, hey, you know, I appreciate it. In fact, I guess I can let you off the hook from helping out on the boat here. Like, you need a hand getting off the boat. Don't want you falling in the water again. And Dagwood kind of walks over, looks over, and he's all, I think I'll try to walk down that way. I'm just kidding. Hey, yes, Captain Porter, come over here and place a wood plank over there on that gap for the boat, from the boat to the pier down there, so that my friend Dagwood here can walk down. So Dagwood. Oh, Dagwood's here? Hey, Dagwood. He's like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Thank you, how you doing? Hey, you helping out, Captain Porter? Yeah, well, do what I can. All right, hey, I appreciate it. That's awesome, man. Dagwood's a good guy. He's a good guy, yeah. So that's what I hear. We'll see. And Captain Porter then puts his hand on Dagwood and is like, listen, I really need your help on this. Take whatever time you need. But I do need this. But even though I want you to take your time to get it right, you know this as soon as possible. I can't let this stand. You understand that, right? I can understand wanting to administer justice. I just hope for your sake and mine's that you're not going to use it to do anything that I would do as well. I don't think that part is part of your job, is it? That point. Dagwood takes off and he walks down the pier. He walks down the pier and he turns around and starts walking back towards the street, turns back around and gives a wave. Captain Porter gives a wave. And he continues down the street. And that is where we will end this session. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me in my first session. I know it was a lot of role play heavy. I hope I was able to answer some questions and hopefully give you guys some insight as to how I go about my role play. Bear with me. I know it was a pretty rocky start. It was the very first time doing it, at least in front of a camera. So I'm doing a lot of talking to myself, a lot of, whatever. So I hope it was still entertaining, and I'm hoping that you guys will stick around and continue to watch the rest of the adventure. Dagwood just got his first mission, and we're gonna go from there. So yeah. So if you guys like and enjoy what you saw today, please, what's it say on YouTube? Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the bell icon on the side of the subscribe button to get notified of future episodes of Rising Legends, the Dagwood. And if you guys have any suggestions or any comments or anything like that, or any questions related to the solo role playing and what I've been doing and what programs I'm using, whatever, please leave them in the comments below. I will definitely answer your questions, and we'll go from there. So until next episode, see you guys later. Take care.